So, hi everybody, and welcome to the New Economy series. We are delighted to welcome our guest today, Mr. Jan Scheele. I hope I pronounced that right. Mr. Jan is an entrepreneur, author, blockchain expert. His company is called the International Blockchain Solutions, and I'll let him introduce himself pretty soon. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Jen, I'm speaking to you right now. We have a small list of questions from our community, and we hope that you're able to share your knowledge on the developments in the blockchain industry over the past years. So, we're going to be breaking down all the information into the most basic form because our audience is pretty wide. We have people who know everything about blockchain and people who are just getting interested. So, before we start, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Crypterium. Crypterium is a mobile app that turns cryptocurrencies into money you can spend really easily. With Crypterium, you can shop around the world, pay your bills, pay with your coins and tokens, and it makes things really, really easy. So, Mr. Jan, thank you so much for your time. Please tell us a little about what you do.
So I'm doing two things in the blockchain area.
Yes, so just about your background, and then we'll narrow it down.
So, all right. So I'm doing as the solutions, which is currently built on two apps or two like global blockchain solutions. One of them is in the cannabis. Putting basically the entire cannabis sector on the documents with a blockchain solution that we're going to this blockchain projects. So this will be an all-project platform where people can get reliable full blockchain project. I did hear my question, like the two things I'm doing right now. So both the platforms, right? All right. So those are the two basic things now in the blockchain. What we're doing here in the Netherlands, what we're building now in the Netherlands.
Okay. I also saw, because I did a little research on you, that you're an author. So do you want to speak about that before we dive into the blockchain specific questions?
So I wrote, I organized on a global scale, I organized 50 of these so-called TEDx events, which are distributing the TED Talks. I organized them in my free time on a global scale, from Amsterdam to Iraq to New York. And I wrote a memoir book about this with all my experiences, all the crazy things that happened. And I published it on Amazon, and it turned out to be an Amazon #1 bestseller. So yeah, really proud about that. So I'm also working on a book which is about the global impact of blockchain. That will be my second book, and I'm planning to release that in before summer.
Okay, sounds pretty good. So
yes.
Before we dive into the questions, I want to break down the format we'll be following for this interview. So first of all, we have our audience on Facebook and YouTube who are joining in, and then we also have our exclusive community on Newconomy. So for the first part of the interview, we're going to have it live for everybody online to be able to access. And then for the second part, where we really ask you like important details about your experience so far in the industry, we're going to take it to the Newconomy exclusive community. Does that make sense? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's dive right in. So from your experience, how do you think the blockchain industry is growing in the Netherlands compared to the rest of the world?
Well, it's really interesting. If you look to the big experts which are visiting the Netherlands, which are speaking on the key conferences,
Mhm.
like Vinay Gupta, one of the founders of Ethereum, he was lately in the Netherlands, and he was actually really praising the Dutch government that
Mhm.
they have been so active in creating a blockchain hub, that they have been so actively supporting the blockchain community, and that's really
Yeah.
interesting to see because of that. According to him, like if you look on a Dutch scale, there are so many blockchain projects implementing Vinay. It is even better, like it's going even faster as in Dubai or Singapore, these huge capitals. So I think it's really interesting to see that it's going so extremely fast, and that like the communities are growing. I mean the there's loads of companies which are experimenting or already successfully implementing all kinds of solutions. So I think it's really interesting to see what's happening right now in the Netherlands.
Okay. So what got you interested in the industry and when did you get in?
Euros. So that's a couple of years ago, and I got to know Bitcoin and Namecoin and Litecoin via a colleague of Ted. Back then, there were just a couple of friends who were experimenting with this, so I bought my first Bitcoin. And from then, like most of the people, it started this journey with is Bitcoin? What kind of impact will it have on society? And then, like in 2000, madness, like everybody was talking about
Yeah.
Bitcoin, and from that, we started to build the two companies. And then from that on, I really started to also, besides being an enthusiast and being a professional, helping other people and companies, also starting to build companies actually in the industry. So it's already for a couple of years I'm interested, but now since 2017, 2018, we're really building companies for blockchain.
Yeah. Okay. So what would your top advice be for someone who's interested in getting into the blockchain industry but has no idea where to start? Like where can they start? What should they do first?
Yeah, so the problem is that like I'm also learning every day again. Like if you look to the extreme developments in the industry, like from the zero knowledge proof,
Yeah.
grid protocol, sharding. There's every day again. There seems to be a new
Something new.
concept being launched. So it's stay updated. It's tough. You need to really spend like numerous hours of every week to really get updated about status, about the developments, and so forth. I think honestly, if you're really interested in the technology, I think it
Yeah.
would be wise to first check what direction are you interested in, because I mean, otherwise it's like just like surfing on the internet. It's putting like a fire extinguisher, So I would first start like to check like what is of interest. Is it the global impact? Is it the impact on is it helping sustainability? Is it the cryptocurrency trading? Is it the financial world? Like to narrow your interest down a little bit and then start
Okay.
exploring. I mean, otherwise it's just basically impossible. Although I think it's very important have two basic ideas. One of them is, of course, where is this movement coming from? So
Mhm.
I think there's a few books which are written really well about where is this cryptographic movement coming from, like from the 70s with David Shaw and so forth. And the second thing is really the basic functioning of the blockchain. So how does this work? How is a block being added to the chain, and how does a block look like? If you know these basics, I think you can really start exploring further.
Okay. All right. So now we're going to switch over to our exclusive community segment where we're going to dive deeper into your experience. So this is going to take about 30 seconds to 2 minutes. I'm going to let the technical team take over. Jan, please be on standby and we'll be back shortly.